What's up, guys? Phil here with Untapped Sports. Today we're going to break down the top 5 winners of the 2021 NBA Draft, which just happened yesterday. These are the teams that I felt had the biggest impact on their future with good picks in good spots, good value plays, that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and break it down. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. We would surely appreciate it as we keep trying to grow this channel into something real big. It's going to be great. Come along for the ride. We'd love to have you. Anyway, without further ado, let's get after it. The top 5 winners from the 2021 NBA Draft. First up, my number 5 team, the Los Angeles Clippers. They actually did a phenomenal job, the Western Conference finalists, making some pretty savvy picks. It all started by acquiring Keon Johnson out of the University of Tennessee with the number 20 overall pick. And then they really did some damage in the second round, picking up Jason Preston out of Ohio University. He's an Orlando native. Shout out the 407. As well as B.J. Boston out of the University of Kentucky. Johnson and Boston are both super young. They're only 19 years old, couple of projects. Keon Johnson, crazy athletic, big-time bounce, can jump out of the gym, and was a really, really strong player for a top 10 team in Tennessee all year long. Jason Preston for Ohio, obviously, everyone heard his story during March Madness. The kid who only scored 2.5 points a game as a senior in high school. He went on to become a blogger at UCF before he decided to post a couple of his basketball highlights online. It is 2021 after all. I guess at the time it was 2018. But anyway, the Ohio Bobcats saw his highlight tape and picked him up, offered him a spot on their team, and he turned that into an NCAA appearance. They had the big upset in the first round of March Madness, and Jason Preston really made a name for himself. Terrific passing guard, and I think he can do a lot for the Clippers with Reggie Jackson on his way out. He played so well in the playoffs. There's no way the Clippers are going to re-sign him. They really needed a point guard out there, not named Pat Beverly, because no one likes Pat Beverly, and I think Jason Preston could have a shot. It's going to be a long shot, but you can't count this kid out. He literally averaged 2 points as a senior in high school, and now he is an NBA draft pick. Pretty phenomenal effort there. And then B.J. Boston, 19-year-old swingman out of Kentucky. Just per usual, it's a Kentucky guy, so he has a ton of potential. We'll see what he can do for the Clippers, but I really like what Los Angeles did in this one. Picked up 3 quality guys in the 2021 NBA Draft. God, that's an upskirt shot. You're welcome. Coming in at number 4 for my top 5 favorite team drafts, the Golden State Warriors. They had 2 first-round picks, and they made them count. With number 7, they took Jonathan Kuminga out of the G League Ignite. And then they snagged Moses Moody out of Arkansas with the final pick in the lottery, number 14 overall. I love those 2 picks for the Warriors. Initially, everyone thought they were going to try to trade out of them and pick up a veteran. And, with Steph Curry getting up there in age, Clay coming off an injury, Draymond also up there in age, their window's probably pretty short. And there's potential that they could trade those guys and or maybe James Wiseman, the number 2 pick from last year as well, package them together, maybe pick up a Pascal Siakam from Toronto or something like that, and try to bolster their roster and try to make the playoffs this season coming up. However, if they don't, I'm actually pretty excited to see what Kuminga and Moody can both do for the Warriors. Super young guys, 18 years old for Kuminga, 19 for Moody. And I think under the tutelage of Draymond, Steph, and Clay, Steve Kerr, one of the best coaches in the NBA, besides my man Greg. What up, Popovich? I think they have a chance to really grow into something special with the right mentorship there in Golden State. So I love what they did with their 2 lottery picks. If they trade them, hopefully it works out for them. But if not, I think they took 2 young studs. Coming in at number 3 for my top 5 favorite drafts by a team, the Orlando Magic, my hometown team. They had 2 lottery picks at number 5 and number 8. They received an absolute gift at number 5 when the Raptors took Scotty Barnes at 4. Everyone thought they were going to take Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga, but instead he fell into the lap of the Magic, and they snatched him up real quick, despite the fact they already have 3 point guards on their roster. I love that pick for Suggs. I think he's a floor general. I think he has a ton of potential, and I think he's going to do really big things for the Magic. Then at number 8, they took our boy, the favorite of the channel, and on tap, special friend, Franz Wagner out of the University of Michigan. Love that pick for the Magic. We all know my man crush on Franz. If any of you watched the 30 Michigan streams we did this year, I was all over him. And quoted as saying multiple times that I think he was the best prospect on the team as far as the NBA goes. He's a 6'9 forward. He can D up. He's so underrated on defense. I don't think people truly understand the impact he has on the game defensively. He does a phenomenal job. on defense. And then he can score the basketball. We'll forget about the air ball against UCLA for a little bit. But he can score when he needs to, but that's not his main thing. He's a five-tool guy, plays defense, plays offense, rebounds, passes well, shoots it pretty well. And I think he could turn into something special. He needs good coaching, and he definitely needs to work on his three-point shooting. I think he was in the low 30s for the season. But if he can turn that around, I think he can have a chance to be a real impact guy. But coupled with Suggs, plus the other young talent that they have on that team, if Jonathan Isaac can ever get healthy, I think the Magic have some real pieces, Wendell Carter Jr. as well, to make a nice run in a couple years. Hold. Gotta look up something. All right. My second favorite team was the team with the number 2 overall pick, the Houston Rockets. They used that number 2 pick on Jalen Green out of the G League Ignite. An absolutely explosive player. Can absolutely take off like a rocket. Super athletic dude, scored a bunch of points, and I think he'll be a really good young player. Will they be empty points? Is he going to be the type who's like a 23 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists guy? We'll see what happens. Again, super young, definitely a project, but the whole Houston Rockets team is a young project. They've got Christian Wood, they've got Kevin Porter Jr., and now they have a bunch of young guys because they had 4 first-round draft picks. The second one, Alperen Sengun, the big man out of Turkey. Sengun has a really bright future to score. Defense might come along. We'll see what happens. The foreign guys tend to not really be big on defense, like Porzingis or something like that. But if he can turn into a big-time scorer, I don't think he'll even be a problem. At number 23, the Rockets took Usman Garuba out of Real Madrid. He was a really good ranked defender, so that maybe that makes up for all the other picks that they've made so far. Houston's not a really good defensive team. They're also, again, very young. It takes a lot of adjusting to get used to that in the NBA. But he has high upside as a defender, big man. He's about 6'9", I think. 6'8" on my notes here. So we'll see what he can do. Obviously, he's a project. I don't know anything about him other than he's ranked very highly on defense. And then lastly, at number 24, they took Josh Christopher. He's a shooting guard out of Arizona State, a guy who likes to score the basketball. Pretty shifty, makes defenders, get in awkward positions and able to get by them. Will he be able to do that in the NBA? It's hard to say. And he definitely needs to work on his shot a little bit, but he has a bright future as a wing scorer for Houston. Again, 4 first-round picks is pretty awesome for them as they continue to grow. And, I wish them nothing but the best because I love seeing teams that used to be bad become good, just like my number 1 favorite team in this draft. And the team I think that had the best draft in 2021, none other than the Detroit Pistons. That's right. Number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham, the absolute no-brainer selection. He's a future all-star, potential future MVP. Love everything about him, his size, his athleticism, his ability to shoot, to pass, to run the floor, play D. He literally does it all for Detroit. Exactly what they need, a big wing guy to go alongside Jeremy Grant for now, along with the great draft picks they had last year, Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey, and my man Big Beef Stu, Isaiah Stewart. They traded Plumlee away, so Stewart's going to have a big role coming up this season for the Pistons. But I think Cade Cunningham is going to be a huge piece for Detroit, and I look forward to seeing what he can do. And then they added to that. They didn't have anything else in the first round. However, in the second round, they made a splash. They brought the hometown kid back to Detroit, Isaiah Livers, out of the University of Michigan, the second Wolverine to be selected in this draft. Obviously, he had a disappointing end to his career, getting hurt before he could play in the Final Four for Michigan. Would he have been a game changer for them? Who knows? Probably. But what he is a fantastic 3-and-D player. He can shoot the rock. Honestly, going to the Pistons, he might be the second best shooter on that team the second he's on the roster. He's a good spot-up guy. If you leave him open, he'll knock it down for sure. Plus, he can D up on guys. He has really good size as well. He'll be a really solid bench piece. The athleticism is a smidge lacking for the NBA level, but I think he can grow into that, and I'd like to see him do very well. And then finally, the Pistons cleaned up with a little guy named Luka Garza. Anyone in the Big Ten might have heard of him. He was the player of the year out of Iowa, Luka Garza. A lot of people, the big knock on him was thinking that he didn't have quick enough feet, can't play defense at this level. But you know what? He's a 6'11 guy. All he does is get buckets. He averaged 24 points a game. He can shoot it from outside at about 40% from 3. So all you need out of him, give him 15 minutes down low. Let him, bang a little bit, but if he needs to pull it out and shoot a couple threes, knock those down, get you 10, 12, 15 points off the bench, and that's his role to start things off, why not? Could he be a Brook Lopez type? Who knows? Lopez isn't exactly quick on his feet, but he learned how to shoot later on in his career. He learned how to block shots a lot better. And I'm not saying that they're the exact same player, but they're both tall guys who look pretty plodding out on the floor, but they end up doing pretty big things. You aren't player of the year, you aren't a two-time first-team All-American if you suck at basketball. So I actually kind of like the Garza pickup. I know I made fun of him a lot on our streams, so I take all that back now that he's a Piston. I hope he does great. And the Pistons overall crushed it with Cade Cunningham. I think he'll be the best player out of this draft. I think Livers will be a valuable piece off the bench, as well as Garza, a valuable big man coming off the bench. So shout out to the Pistons for another great draft. That's back-to-back years where they've made some pretty impressive moves. And I'm really looking forward to the future. Troy Weaver doing a phenomenal job as the GM of the Pistons. They are the #1 team in the 2021 NBA Draft. And that will do it for this one. Thanks so much for tuning in. We have a little more draft content coming your way. I'm also going to make a video about the MLB trade deadline, which was pretty wild today. So stay tuned to the channel, put those notifications on, be sure to subscribe, like the video. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you think I'm full of it, I'd love to hear about it and hear who you think had the best draft overall. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon when football season comes, just a few weeks away. Can't wait. Go Blue, baby. And we'll catch you next time.